Hello, YouTube, Twitch, and wherever else you might be watching from. It is I, your American salaryman, Dash Bry. I have part 2 of the Cloud Guide here. This one took a really long time, just because I don't really have that much time to do the things that I need to, usually about 3 hours a day or so. But also, it's been a lot of stuff to do during the work week, and I have other things that I need to do during the weekends. So I appreciate your patience, and thanks for waiting. Here is the Cloud Guide. I'll be seeing you guys later. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, comment, whatever the hell. Just want to see if I can create a community that enjoys DDFF as much as I do and who enjoys the minutia. All right, be seeing you. So now that we've covered the uses for each of those skills, I want to go ahead and talk about one of the more important parts of the game that's a bit more difficult to do. It needs a little bit of game knowledge and for you to be able to track cooldowns and also know how abilities function, and when the hurt boxes are essentially vulnerable from the iframes on enemies. So blocking and denying burst is essentially what you're there to do. It is only something that Cloud, Prompto, and Sephiroth can do. I've already mentioned that. This role is specific to only 3 characters in the game. So currently, just Cloud, Prompto, and Seth are able to do this. When an enemy is stunned, that is a mechanic that essentially ends burst completely. It ends burst state outright. So if you land a stun in the middle of someone's burst, say for example Gaia, Diamond Destroyer's boss, and you time cross slash perfectly, that is the end of Gaia's burst. Diamond Destroyer will essentially run out 2 seconds after the stun goes out. If, for example, you stun Gaia and ascension her away, or finishing touch her away after her Diamond Dust, that is the entirety of her 7 seconds of Diamond Destroyer. So her buff is completely gone, and her burst is absolutely and entirely negated. She can no longer do anything else. So it's very important that when you use cross, you consider whether or not you have to stop someone's burst. Regardless though, to continue, when attempting to deny burst to a rival, it's extremely important to consider whether you would like to stop that burst with a stun, or if you would like to instead defeat the rival and steal their burst. So this is important. This is an extremely important point that I'm making, because you have to understand. Actually, Star Slicer reminded me of this when I was mentioning the notes that I was making today. So if you stun a rival, that mechanic will trigger and their brave will be entirely consumed. That will be it. Even if you kill them, you will not get their bravery, you will not steal their burst. So that is to say, if you have the opportunity to kill a rival and steal a burst first, by defeating that rival, you should steal burst. You should not stun. Stun will eliminate and erase the brave. So always consider that. These are all the things you should be thinking about during this phase when you are not bursting boss, when you are protecting teammates and denying enemies burst. So I wrote an example here, which I think I already kind of instinctually gave you guys. As once a rival has been stunned, they have no active, if they have no active buffs. This is also an important point because Gaia is one of the only characters that does this. Should a character be stunned if they have no active buffs, like Gaia's Diamond Destroyer, then their burst ends and the Brave is completely consumed. So again, consider whether or not you would like to steal Brave or stop their burst. It's one or the other, you can't do both. So Cross can steal a target's burst if the first hit of Cross Slash kills the target, and then they're still stuck for the rest of the 3 hits. So the first hits must make contact and kill the target to steal their burst, or if they live past that 3rd hit, then the stun ends, and or your ability to take that burst or brave is consumed. So you can use the built-in stun in Cross Slash to neutralize bursts. Each of these 3 hits has its own individual stun, each at 5 seconds. This means if you miss the first 2, but you hit the last one, the target will be stunned for 5 seconds, ending their burst. So this is really important to consider because sometimes what can happen is someone will move away from you in the middle of Cross Slash, you'll miss the first, they'll be just in range for the little micro dash the second hit does, and then the third hit will be missed because, again, they're too far. So I don't have a visual for you, but cross slash slashes forward once with a maximum dash distance, then a second micro slash, and then the third slash actually pulls you back. So keep that in mind. You can see it from Cloud's character hitbox. If any of those hits were to stack on top of each other, it does not make the total time 10 seconds. Each hit refreshes the 5-second timer, period. So that's it for the blocking or denying burst phase of your gameplay. So we've talked about cross slash. Braver really isn't as useful now due to all the beams and Orin and all these one-shot abilities that we have in the game. But Braver is very good for one specific thing during the burst phase: boss damage. Braver is a one-hit 500% potency attack that essentially allows you to chain twice this move on its own on a boss. If you open with Braver, you can close with Braver. But if you take it a step further and line up Finishing Touch and then Braver, what you can do is you can use Finishing Touch, hit Braver, activate a third ability, use Cross Slash, use Omni Slash, and by the time that you finish Omni Slash, Braver will be off cooldown, so you can hit Braver again, which then will allow Finishing Touch to come off cooldown and activate Finishing Touch again. So you'll do an insane amount of boss damage. If you have the opportunity to use this combo away from enemies and safely, absolutely do it. It will win you the game. If you hit the boss this hard 2 times, he will have 10% HP left. There is no way he's living through another burst. So it is a bit risky to do, but it is possible. I can show you in plenty of videos, I get it off quite a bit. So finally to the last section of this video or this stream. So the last phase in the game is a repeating loop. It's massively important. I call this phase a repeating loop. It is very important that you understand that burst is not essentially a phase that you do one time like the other two. Burst is a phase that is repeating over and over. Burst is the priority because it wins you the game. So this is the final phase in the match's loop currently. We don't know if maybe matches will change in the future. But this indicates, or the statement I made just now indicates, that in order to win often, you will need to complete the loop consistently, and not just that, but better than the rival team. So in this phase, the micro play is what's really important. This phase, I cannot tell you how to do properly. It will always be different for every single time you play this character. So one of the most important parts of this phase is your micro play. So what that means is that this will either allow you to successfully complete bursting, or it will pass it along to the rival most of the time. So you have to be extremely careful how you do this. This is the most important part of your play, and in this phase alone, there are many, many factors that will affect the outcome. So one of many factors is the boss. How fast or slow the boss is moving? How will the boss react to your hit if he'll armor through your hit and cast an ability instead? Which move is it using? Can it kill me during burst? Which is very important to know. That's both a benefit and kind of a negative. It depends if you are low health or if you're about to give burst away to an enemy. Boss positioning, such as, is the boss in a good location for you to burst? And is it moving towards me or away from me? Paid actor moments suck. It really sucks to have everything you need. Boss is at 5%. And all of a sudden, your whole burst gets completely sidelined because boss decided to go somewhere else. We all know it. So take your time. Make sure you know where boss is moving. Make sure you know what boss is doing next. If worst comes to worst, lock boss down. He also gets stunned by cross slash. So another really important factor is the map. What are the nuances? Does it have ramps, which change elevation, which could make my skills miss? Abilities not hit rivals, protect me from rival skills. Drop-offs for quick escapes. Can Renoa come at me? Can Kane come at me? Things like that. Your positioning or player positioning, where are you relative to your spawn, or how easy is it for teammates to protect you? Your burst rotation. Is my rotation safe? Am I using 7 hits compared to only using 3 hits and then dying to boss, or not giving burst to rival instead? So how vulnerable you are when you burst. Should you cut your rotation short? Should you have cross slash? Should you save it? Should you deny enemy bursts with it, or should you just hit boss with it? The game state is something you should also consider. Let me go ahead and see if I can go over to the dock here so you guys aren't just staring at a character's empty skills. Let's go ahead and get rid of this here. There we go. And then I'll move this over so you guys can see it a little better. Okay. Can you guys read that well enough? Let me just zoom in on that a little bit and I'll slide over to the right here. Okay. So one of the things you should be considering is game state. How much health boss has left? Does the rival team have kill pressure on boss? Another thing you want to consider is boss going to be here when I start bursting? That's also really important. That's more boss positioning, but sometimes you'll have kill pressure and boss will completely just not be there afterwards, or someone will hit you in the middle of it and then steal your burst. Rival positioning, where the enemy team is relative to my location, how easy is it for them to get access to me? How close is their spawn in case someone just died and then they're next to you now because you're in their enemy spawn. Rival positioning, rivals in game, this is extremely important. Who can affect your current burst regardless of distance or location? What effects are ongoing or currently active? For example, Diamond Destroyer, you can just get sniped immediately if one has Diamond Destroyer, or CC'd to death. If there is an enemy Prompto, if Sethroth is in the middle of Supernova, whether or not you have a Warrior of Light on your team, things like that. Then there's Brave, who could take boss aggro away from me, or will have the ability to take boss aggro away from me from one crystal break. So those are the most, I think, important parts of the burst phase. The burst phase is really difficult, and I can't tell you how to do it correctly because there are so many factors that affect it. This is something you'll have to feel out, but I can just give you little tidbits here and there that'll help you start to think about what you should be doing. The gist of this phase is make sure you know where everyone is on your team, where the boss is on your side of the map or on the map, and where the rivals are either on the map or within your team. One piece of advice I can give you that's extremely important for this phase in the game is be certain that when you start bursting, you pay attention to the map, because chances are the Titus who sees you bursting is going to sprint towards you, or the Kane who sees you bursting is going to TP to the crystal or try and Dragon's Pride you. So just have awareness, essentially. That's basically it for everything that I wanted to talk about this guide. It's fairly simple. However, I do want to go ahead and play a couple of ranked games, and then I'll make a video of this. What I'll do is I'll probably cut parts of the gameplay into this specific stream once I cut and edit this stream, so that I can show examples of the things that I'm talking about. This is going to be a lot of effort on my part, so I think I'm probably going to be doing this probably throughout the week. I don't think it's going to be done by Friday. It might be a while, but we'll see. I'll try and get it done as soon as I can. It's kind of a pipe dream at this point to consider I'll be able to do this tomorrow or the day after. But for the most part, I think I'll be able to get a video guide done, and I think it should look pretty good.